Thanks for joining us. You're watching 7 News coverage of campaign 2016. The polls for the Democratic primary in South Carolina just closed.
And as you can see from CBS's live report just now, the race has been called for Hillary Clinton, as was expected. The results are going to start to trickle in on the bottom of your screen.
7 News' Laura Thomas live at Columbia tonight. She's at a volleyball court on the USC campus, and that's where the former First Lady is holding her watch party this evening. Laura, hi.
Right away as soon as the polls closed. And when those polls closed at 7 o'clock, CBS News projected that Hillary Clinton would be the winner here in South Carolina. And as soon as that happened, the crowd just erupted here. The crowd of supporters that have gathered here in Columbia to see Clinton speak tonight. They have gathered around. They're holding posters. They've been chanting for the past 30 minutes or so, saying, "I believe that she will win." And then after that result was announced, they are just chanting her name, Hillary. They are hoping to hear from her tonight. The doors opened at about 7 o'clock, and as soon as that happened, they started flooding in here. You can probably hear them chanting in the background here. There's dozens of supporters here who are waiting to hear from her. They have signs that say, "Fighting for us," and they've been here and they want to hear what she has to say. She needed a definite victory here in South Carolina to carry her over to Super Tuesday coming up this week, and the numbers show that that probably is what happened here in the state. We've also seen her supporters coming here, the ones who've endorsed her, including Columbia Mayor Stephen Benjamin, as well as Congressman Jim Clyburn. People here saying that those endorsements did help her maybe win the vote here in South Carolina. So as you can see, a very loud and rowdy crowd here waiting for her to come out and speak, and we expect that to happen sometime tonight around 8 o'clock or maybe even earlier than that, now that the race has already been called for her. We're going to send it back to you guys.
Thank you, Laura. Of course, we are keeping our eye on the other major candidates. The other major Democratic candidate, Bernie Sanders, is in Rochester, Minnesota tonight. He is skipping the primary night in South Carolina. They were, of course, anticipating losing to Hillary Clinton, though I'm sure they wished it would turn out otherwise.
Well, earlier today, Sanders was in Texas. He was stumping for voters, talking about how he can ultimately beat Donald Trump or any other Republican candidate.
We will defeat Trump because the American people do not want a president who insults Mexicans, Muslims, who insults women and African Americans and veterans, and basically anybody who is not like Donald Trump. And thankfully, most Americans are not like Donald Trump.
Sanders. Now take a look at some of the exit poll information we have in South Carolina. The Democratic voters saying overwhelmingly that they wanted a nominee to continue the president's policies, President Obama's policies, and they say the most important quality in a candidate is caring about people like them. They also want an experienced candidate who is honest, and the most important issue to the voters, the economy and jobs by far. Early exit polling also suggesting 6 in 10 South Carolina Democratic voters were black, as we heard from CBS a little earlier.
We're keeping up with supporters of all the candidates this evening. We do have a crew at the Bernie Sanders watch party in Columbia, and we have Dr. Jonathan Sarnoff back with us now, political analyst at Limestone College, talking about today's primary and the results. It didn't even take CBS more than a few seconds before calling this race.
Yeah, it seems like all the major networks have called the race very early, and that's got to make Hillary Clinton really, really happy. Now what we're going to be watching is what her margin of victory is going to be, and if it's very, very large, and it seems like it could be a 2-to-1 advantage for Hillary, she could get a big bump on Super Tuesday, I think. So
it's going to be interesting to see how this plays out. The breakdown of the voter, seeing how many African American voters voted for her, significant, right?
Yeah, and in fact, it seems like even compared to 2008, there's a larger share of African American voters that's making up the Democratic electorate in the primary. Right. I think 60 to 55% is the number that I saw. So that's significant for her, because that is one of the key constituencies for her and the Democratic Party, but particularly for her as she moves forward in this primary process.
We understand that Bernie Sanders has just sent a congratulatory message to Hillary Clinton. Does he salvage anything from this night in South Carolina?
Well, we're going to have to see. I mean, he certainly doesn't want to be blown out by a 2-to-1 ratio. He needs some momentum going into Super Tuesday. But one of the things is, if we the list of issues that voters are interested in, you brought up income inequality, 10%. Well, that's Bernie Sanders'
whole
major
message, yeah.
issue is income inequality. So if economy and jobs is the primary focus for Democratic voters in the primary in South Carolina and other Super Tuesday states, that's going to be a tough road to hoe for Bernie Sanders going forward. I don't know where he's going to pick up the delegates he needs to win the nomination for the Democrats. So.
Well, we appreciate you being here again, providing your insight. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Dr. Sarnoff. Well, again, the polls have just closed. The results will be coming in on your screen coming up very soon. But CBS News has already declared they are projecting that Hillary Clinton is going to be the winner of tonight's Democratic primary. We have Laura Thomas still standing by at the Hillary Clinton watch party in Columbia for more reaction from there. Laura.
The chanting is continuing here in Columbia at the Volleyball Center on the campus of the University of South Carolina. When we first got here, the supporters were chanting, "I believe that she will win." Now that chant has changed to, "It's time for a woman in the White House." That's what they've been chanting for the past few minutes or so. The crowd has really grown here over the past 30 minutes or so. As soon as those polls closed at 7 o'clock is when CBS News projected that Clinton would have a pretty big lead and a win here in the Palmetto State. And as soon as that happened, we've seen those cheers and that crowd growing here. A lot of people holding signs, a lot of people very excited. You can see from their emotions here, taking pictures and wanting to remember being here. They are also expecting Clinton to come out here and speak. They had projected that that would be around 8 o'clock tonight, but it might be sooner now that the race has been called so soon. But we are standing by as well, talking with those supporters and hearing what they have to say after Clinton's win here in South Carolina today. Back to you guys.
All right, Laura Thomas in Columbia, thank you. Remember, 7 News will have complete coverage of the Democratic presidential primary. Amy and I will be here with you for updates, results throughout the night, right here at 11 plus at 10 on Carolina CW.
You should download our 7 News app for continuous updates and the results as they roll in this evening. We'll see how big the victory is for Hillary Clinton with those numbers. We'll see you again later on.